What no one tells you about starting over after 60. No one tells you how disorienting it feels to start over after 60. How the world keeps spinning like nothing happened, while everything inside you has changed. One day, you're a wife, a husband, a manager, a caregiver, a routine. And then, without warning, you're not. The paperwork is signed. The kids stop calling as much. The job is done. The house is quiet. And you're left with a question you never thought you'd ask at this age. Who am I now? They say it's never too late to begin again, but no one tells you how. Maybe you've felt it too. That ache when the calendar suddenly has more white space than you're used to. That strange silence in the mornings. No alarm clock. No spouse breathing beside you. No one needing anything. Maybe you've opened the fridge and stared at it. Not because you were hungry, but because you couldn't remember what you used to like, before everything became about someone else. Maybe you miss being called something that meant something. Mom, boss, honey, nurse. This isn't just about reinvention. It's about rediscovery. And sometimes, rediscovery feels like loss before it feels like freedom. Judith was 71 when she wandered into a pottery class, 2 winters after losing her husband. I needed something that would push back, she said. Grief is too quiet. For weeks, she sat at the wheel in silence, hands shaping bowls that always came out crooked. One afternoon, she began to cry. The instructor didn't say a word, just quietly handed her another slab of clay. Later, Judith told us, I think I was trying to mold grief into something useful. And when the bowl finally held its shape, I knew I was healing too. Raymond was 64 when his wife left. 38 years of marriage, gone with a sentence. I need a life that feels like mine, she said. And she packed her suitcase while he watched. He slept in his recliner for weeks. The bed felt like a betrayal, he said. Too many memories there. He started walking at night, trying to outrun the silence. One evening, he passed a community center, heard music, and peeked in. Line dancing. He almost kept walking, but something made him go in. He didn't know the steps. He still doesn't. But he shows up every Thursday now. That's where he met Gloria. They don't talk much about the past. They just keep dancing. Maria retired at 66 after 4 decades as a nurse. Everyone kept saying, "You've earned your rest," she said. But I didn't want rest. I wanted purpose. The quiet of her apartment pressed in like a heavy fog. I used to be needed every minute of the day, she said. Now the phone could stay silent for days. She started volunteering at the local library, just shelving books, a quiet job, invisible work. Until one Saturday, a little girl tugged on her sleeve and asked if she'd read to her. Her voice cracked halfway through the story, but she kept going. Now the children call her Grandma M, and she says that moment brought her back to life. Then there's Lee, a widower, 69, moved in with his son and daughter-in-law after his stroke. He gave up his home, his car, his independence. They meant well, but he said, sometimes I felt like furniture, present but not needed. Until one morning, his grandson asked him for help with a school project on World War II. Lee opened an old photo album, told stories he hadn't spoken aloud in decades. Now, every Sunday, he and his grandson record those stories for a history podcast. He said, "It feels like I'm being remembered while I'm still alive." And finally, Dolores, age 72, recently divorced, her kids grown, her bank account thinner than she'd hoped. She took a part-time job at a bakery, just for extra income. But what she found was something else entirely. She learned every customer's name, memorized their orders, brought her own cinnamon to share with coworkers. She started making scones from her mother's old recipe. People kept coming back for them. This job wasn't supposed to mean anything, she said, but somehow it gave me back my dignity. Starting over after 60 isn't always about building something new. Sometimes it's about unlearning everything that told you your worth depended on being busy or being needed. It's discovering that rest isn't always passive. That silence can be sacred, not empty. It's realizing you don't have to earn your seat at the table anymore. You are the table. You bring the stories, the wisdom, the weathered hands that have held joy and sorrow in equal measure. It's accepting that grief and growth can hold hands, that some days will still feel raw. And that's not failure. That's honesty. And maybe most of all, it's learning to be proud of the quiet victories. Like going somewhere new, even if your hands tremble. Like telling the truth, even if your voice cracks. Like waking up and deciding to try again. No audience, no applause, just the quiet strength of showing up for yourself. Harold, 76, said something we can't forget. At first, I thought starting over meant I had to become someone else, something shinier. But eventually, I realized it just meant becoming myself, without all the noise. That sentence hung in the room like a prayer, because for so many of us, the roles we've worn have drowned out the voice underneath. And starting over isn't about reinvention. It's about remembering. Remembering the version of you that didn't have to be useful to be worthy. Maybe starting over at 60 isn't a second act. Maybe it's the first one that's truly yours. The one that doesn't chase approval. That doesn't serve everyone else's script. That doesn't ask permission. It may be slower, quieter. It may come with less certainty. But in that slowness, something sacred returns. You. Not the role. Not the resume. Just you. If you're standing at the edge of a new beginning, unsure of what's next, breathe. You are not late. You are not lost. You are standing in the doorway of something tender and real. And while the world may not celebrate this kind of becoming, we will. Because showing up for your own life again and again, after all you've seen and lost and carried, that's the bravest thing we know. So keep going. One small act at a time. Bake the scones. Join the dance. Read the story. Tell your own. You are not done yet. And your story still matters. If this spoke to you, wait until you hear what happened when we asked 36 widows what they missed most, and none of them said what you'd expect. That story is quiet, but powerful, and it's waiting for you, right here at the Golden Compass, when you're ready.